Hey, having a date for the prom is important, right? Yes. Well, it was just that I was going to ask that, Russian, Eastern European accented, boy in our class, in our physics class, as my date. Oh, right. Is that bad? No. It's just that the schools in Sheffield are very different. No, it's just that I really like you. Right. Of course he would. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and if I have long pauses, I apologise. This is non-scripted. None of my reviews are scripted, apart from the Canine and Company one I did for Universals, and more or less the Whatever Happened to Susan one, but with notes. All the other times, it is just me rambling. Really. So, class episode 1 for Tonight We Might Die. This is the first episode of the Doctor Who young adult spin-off, created by Patrick Ness. Yeah, so, I remember when this was announced, people weren't really that excited for this. I know people have got a bit more enthusiastic or excited over the times, but at the time it was announced, people didn't like the idea. So, but how does the first episode of the series actually held up? Well, pretty good. It's a really good first episode. It's looking like a really good series. It shows the teenage life at school with issues. Sadly I didn't get to go into sixth form. If I did, I'd probably be a year older than I'd be in the year above these guys. I'd be year 13 and they're year 12s, but didn't make it to sixth form, so I had to end with year 11 at school. On the plus side, I got to go to college, and look where I am now. Pretty well. It probably wouldn't have started the channel if it wasn't for college. And the improvements of skills and meeting great people. But that's for another day, that talk. We're talking about class. There's going to be a lot of class stuff from the fandom for the next couple of weeks, by the way. Yeah. So it merges the teenage sixth form life with trying to stop aliens. Actually, so far with the first 2 episodes, we haven't really seen much of the having to cope with your A-levels and other stuff, but we saw a bit in the first one and maybe a bit in the second, but more so in the first. But we've still got 6 episodes left, so we'll probably see a bit more of that in the future, hopefully. To be honest, that's the less interesting bits story-wise. Character-wise, they're probably the good bits, but story-wise, the more interesting bits is the fighting the aliens. There's actually a quote from Rani and Clyde in the Sarah Jane Adventures that kind of described their day-to-day lives in a similar situation. It's like, go to school, do all that stuff. Oh, and we fought a platoon of Jadoon in our spare time. That wasn't the full quote, but the platoon of Jadoon bit was the actual bit. Yeah. I'm rambling, aren't I? Speaking of our characters, we have 6 main characters in this first episode. 5 for the series, but 6 for this particular first episode. we've got Charlie, who, spoiler alert, is a alien prince from a world where the villains of this story have massacred pretty much everyone on their planet. Apart from him and his protector, Miss Quill. Who was the leader of this alien, they're a group of the aliens on the planet that they wanted a bit of change or something. They were fighting amongst each other, and the Quills, as the group was called, were punished. With Miss Quill being Charlie's protector, as part of the punishment, and hence the name Miss Quill when they are on Earth in disguise. And so the aliens, the shadow creatures, came to invade the planet after they'd been so focused on fighting each other. But Miss Quill did save Charlie. He's got this box of lights that represent everyone on his planet, and they were rescued by the Doctor, who then took them to Coal Hill, where Miss Quill became a physics teacher and Charlie a sixth former. I have to say, both Charlie and Miss Quill are great characters. Charlie's this boy who doesn't understand how to fit in. He's new around the area. He doesn't quite understand stuff, but he's learning. He's making friends. He struggles a little bit, but he's a likeable guy. He reminds me a bit like me if I didn't know anything about planet Earth. I think Charlie's the one I could probably relate to the most, despite being an alien from another planet. Miss Quill, on the other hand, is a bossy bitch to begin with, and then just becomes a stubborn mule throughout the episode. But it's fun to watch her being stubborn. And it's quite enjoyable the way the actress Catherine Kelly presents it. In fact, Miss Quill's the only character who's probably gonna be okay with actually people dying. So long as she and Charlie don't get killed, then it's absolutely fine. Yeah, the others can worry about their problem. You can see a bit more of this in episode 2, but still. Next you have, and then the other three characters are April, Tanya, and Ram. We'll start with Ram because his arc starts around this. Well, April's arc starts around here. I think Tanya's is starting in episode 3. Ram's a bit of a jock, a British jock. He likes football. He's not very nice to Charlie. Or April, you see. But he's a footballer. He's got a girlfriend. He's pretty cool guy. He, as Miss Quill puts it, he has a silent applause when he comes into a room. And he's the British jock of the series. Next up we have April, who I'm not sure what her character trait is. Maybe more of the friendly organizer, I suppose. She's good friends with Mr. Armitage. Well, good friends. They get on well. And in this episode, she's organising the autumn prom. Funny, proms aren't usually in the autumn; they're more closer towards the summer. The previous year, as in the end of a year, rather than near the beginning. Oh well, what are you going to do? April's a really nice one. She's probably the nicest of the crew. There isn't really that much to her until she gets the heart of the alien king inside. She shares her heart with him, or his heart. So But until then, there isn't really much about her, apart from the fact that she kind of fancies Charlie until she realises he's gay. And then finally, there's Tanya, who is actually kind of the closest to being the geek, and also she's 3 years ahead. She should be in year 9, I would say. Well, when I first saw this one, I thought she was 19, but she's in the sixth form. But at 3 years ahead. But actually, in episode 2, it's revealed she's 14. So I think she should be in year 9, but because she's so smart, she's actually in year 12. Kind of like in the book Matilda. Matilda was in like reception year 1-ish, and then she got moved up to year 6, and she was working hard there. So yeah, Tanya's the smart one, and yeah. But despite being in sixth form, her mum still treats her like a little girl, or considers her a little girl. Guess it's because she's still not sixth form age, but even then, she kind of is being a bit of a overprotective mum, despite her daughter being a teenager. Parents can still be like that, maybe even if someone's like gone past teenager, they're in their adults, they're still living with their protective, pushy parent. For some reason. And the final main character is the Doctor, played by Peter Capaldi, who is just... I'm smiling. I was grinning yesterday when he was on screen. Peter Capaldi is easily one of, if not the best actor to play the Doctor. Hands down, no comparison, apart from maybe Christopher Eccleston. Possibly. But even so, Capaldi sometimes beats him. Actually, no, more than sometimes beats him. I still like Matt Smith more, but Peter Capaldi hits it out of the park and further. And he's just brilliant. And I think the 12th Doctor himself, has been getting better as a character, partly thanks to Peter Capaldi's performance. And what he's been up to. Yeah, some of the stories aren't that great, but his Doctor has been getting better over the years, and I really hope he stays on past the end of Stephen Moffat's era. I hope he's in series 11, maybe even series 12. Get the most of the new series Doctors done. And looking forward to seeing him back at Christmas. And even if the 12th Doctor's getting a bit more soft, he's probably becoming more of a approachable person and more of a hero than as he started out. I think this is what they're doing with what they wanted to do with the 6th Doctor, but BBC behind the scenes stuff didn't allow them to. Thank you, Michael Grade. So maybe they're doing that now with the 12th Doctor. Yeah, and he's just as energetic here as usual, as he was in series 9. He's very much the hero of the day. He acts like it. Although not the angsty one, David Tennant's one. The Doctor got a bit towards the end of his era. He's just being the hero and trying to protect his friends and the students. And when they start helping out, he starts working alongside them, and at the end of the day, he gives them the task of protecting Coal Hill from future threats, showing that he knows responsibility where he sees them. With great power comes great responsibility, which is a Spider-Man quote. Mr. TARDIS uses that quite a bit. He's brilliant. And there's a nice little nod to Clara Oswald in a brief moment. There's also, in a plaque of people, I think there might be teachers, there's Oswald C. I don't know if there was a pink D for Danny Pink, but If there was, I didn't notice it. I hope there would have been. Yeah, I'm not sure if he would have remembered her by now, or if he's still have his memory lost from Hellbent. This could be something that comes up again in Series 10. Hopefully it's resolved, but not too abruptly. Meanwhile, there's also a nice little nod to Barbara Wright, with one of the buildings being called the Barbara Wright Building. There's a bigger sign in the next episode towards the door, but you can see it in the background on one of the signs throughout the 2 episodes. And it's really nice that they dedicate one of the buildings to one of the former companions who used to teach here. So we've had shout-outs to 2 Coal Hill teachers from Doctor Who past, and in Day of the Doctor we also had the shout-out to Ian as a governor. Maybe he'll be mentioned, maybe he'll appear, I don't know. The next episode has something to do with the governors, or something, but we'll talk about that when we get round to it. Speaking of Coal Hill, the building is different, and now it's an academy. Coal Hill has changed quite a lot in the past 50 or so years. What is it, 2016? 53 years, almost. You didn't see the outside in An Unearthly Child, but when you get to Remember It to the Dalek, set around a month or so later, 1963, it looks like it's on the outside, and because the story was in black and An Unearthly Child was in black and white, Remember It to the Daleks kind of gives the new corridors, and new science labs, so any things that you didn't see. So it's possible that So I think Unearthly Child and Remember It to the Daleks, Coal Hills, are the same buildings, the same schools. They just look a bit... Remember, it's just a bit different because there's 25 years gap, and it's partly set, partly location, whilst Unearthly Child was only set until Reign of Terror. In fact, it was only set throughout the entire programme until Reign of Terror. So, yeah, but I think it's the same school building. Then, is Coal Hill seen again in the series? I don't think so. I think it's only those 2 in the classic series. I think it then pops up in Day of the Doctor. And somehow new buildings, and it looks a bit more like a primary school, whilst Remember It looks like one of those old secondary schools, if that primary and secondary schools have playgrounds for boys and girls. Whilst the new Coal Hill School in Day of the Doctor looks more like a looks like a big primary school, and now it's next to the Totters Lane scrapyard. Next door, and then when we then see it again in Into the Dalek the following year, it's a completely different building. We see it in Deep Breath, but that's the inside of the classroom. So from out on the main entrance, it looks like a school building that I suppose maybe a secondary school, but later in the Caretaker, you see it's a bit more of it looks kind of a mix of high and primary schools. Really, it's actually Series 8 makes it look more like a primary school than a secondary school. The classrooms and the main building look like secondary, but inside there's a few buildings and playground that makes it look more of a primary school. Coal Hill appears in Into the Dalek. I don't think it's in this one. It's in The Caretaker, Time Heist, The Caretaker, Kill the Moon, and yeah, that's it. And also The Magician's Apprentice. Think yes. So yeah, the last time we saw Coal Hill was The Magician's Apprentice, and presumably the same building and the same classroom. So again, over the course of another year, we've moved to a completely new location, and it's actually looking more of a secondary school / college, or university this time, and also it's become an academy, so it's now Coal Hill Academy. But to be honest, it's looking more like a high school. It's probably looking like the most high school since Remembrance of the Daleks. To be honest, in fact, it's looking more, like I said, it's looking more college, university. But it's probably the closest to being a secondary school at all, outside at least. Inside, I'd probably say Remembrance and An Earthly Child. I don't know if there's any other stories Coal Hill features in, but I'll check and put them in the editing. So yeah, that was a long ramble on Coal Hill throughout the era, and yeah, it's only appeared in Doctor Who and Glass. There might be expanded media on it, but I'm focusing mainly on the TV series. Before we move on to the aliens, there are two other characters I just want to talk about. The first is Mr. Armitage, who I'll talk a bit more in the next episode, but he's from Series 8. He appears in The Caretaker. You get his voice in Dark Water. I don't know if he's in any others, but I'm sure he is. Maybe into the Dalek, but I'm not certain. It's nice to see him in this episode and the next episode, but something happens in the next one that I'll talk a bit more about there, so it's nice to see him back here. And the other one is, I can't remember his name, but it's this boy that Charlie wants to ask out. You see him at the end talking with the guys. He doesn't become a main character, he just witnesses the events. And he's got this Eastern European Russian accent. I'm very bad with them, to be honest. But yeah, he's a pretty good character in the scenes he gets. Yeah, he's good. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back in future episodes and became a love interest for Charlie. Though I thought that was going to be April and Ram was going to be the gay one, but I was wrong. I also thought that Miss Quill would be Charlie's mother. Wrong again. She was murdered by the villain. And now we come to the villain, the shadow creature. Yeah, they're pretty good. They do look like the Pyrovile with the... I'm going to go a bit further here. They look like the Pyrovile with the Skuldrox Blitzer's face. The Skuldrox Blitzer from the Caretaker. Yeah, they kind of have that face, but on a kind of like a small Pyrovile. But less fiery. More smoky and shadowy, and there's at some points when you're looking at the king, the Shadow King or whatever, there's some... It's like they're trying to use different sides of a camera. It's like you've got two free cameras, so a couple of angles of this character, and it keeps cutting between them. I don't understand what's going on. Why can't you just have one solid shot of him talking to them? Why can't you could just have it from here and then go back to the wide shot and then close up or something, as opposed to several different medium shots? I don't quite understand that. It also doesn't look like he's talking those things. It just looks like that sound stuff from different pieces of time. Like earlier in the episode when April was trying to hand out leaflets, you got her trying to ask people to do it, and you got shots of her just trying to do it but without talking. So it was something like that, but it worked there, sort of. But it doesn't work with this. And if this character's coming back, please don't do what you did this here again. Just have a solid shot from one single angle. You can cut back to and from different angles to talk, but don't make it cut every couple of seconds. Maybe more of a, like, I think what they do is like somewhere between 5 and 20 seconds. What I say they should do is maybe when it feels right. So let's say you get a shot here, after about 40 seconds you then cut back to a bit closer up and leave that for a minute before cutting to the other characters. Depends on how long the chat goes and who's saying what. So I've got my itchy back. Yeah, I'm only an amateur filmmaker, but when amateurs start pointing out problems with your shooting and your filming and editing, that's when you realise you've been making mistakes. When amateurs start pointing them out and telling you how to improve them, and probably, if they did do it, they probably would improve it. I could probably film that better. I wouldn't like to brag. I know some people even better than me who probably film it better. And they're still amateurs. Sort of. I think they're more professional than I am, but still. Yeah. And there's not really much to it. The story's really good, by the way. Yeah, it's pretty much the Shadow people are chasing Charlie and Miss Quill, because they're the only survivors, and they want the cabinet that has all the lives of each of the killed of the aliens killed in there, and they will kill anyone at Cold Hill to get it. They killed Rachel, who's Ram's girlfriend. They cut off his leg. They slice off part of his legs. This is very bloody scene. This is starting to go from. This is starting to go into Torchwood area, bloody and gory. At the moment, it's just a bit of a Torchwood Sarah Jane, and now it's gone a bit closer into Torchwood territory when the violence starts. And yeah, so they killed Rachel. They've killed everyone on the planet pretty brutally, and yeah, and nothing will stop them. They have to evacuate the school. There's only a few characters in the hall when the Doctor turns up, and the King tries to, and even April even threatens to kill herself in order to kill the King, the Shadow King, so he doesn't win. These are people who are putting their lives at risk. Even Ram, with his partly cut off legs, he saves April by thrupping a chair at the Shadow King and sending him back, saving April, who had, just to point out, they chase the King, and whilst he retreats, and then he just grabs April somehow, and yeah, she's been rushing towards him, and he just grabs her. How very damsel in distress, typical. It's just, although thankfully Ram does earn a likeable character moment with that bit, and it's around then where we start seeing our characters come together. Once they're facing the shadowy creatures, apart from the Russian, Eastern European accent boy, he's not around after this one, or at least not yet. So yeah, Class Episode 1, For Tonight We Might Die, which is actually a quote that's spoken by April in the prom just before the Shadows attack. Yeah, so it's a great episode. It's not perfect. I have a problem with the filming and editing in the shots that featuring the Shadow King when he's talking to the kids, the Doctor and Miss Quill, but with all said and done, it looks really good. I think it's going to be a good young adult series. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of the series after episode 2, because I've seen that now, and yeah, it's really good. Will it be as good as the others? Well, I haven't seen all Torchwood yet, but I've seen parts of it. From what I remember, I did like them. I do really want to see the rest and rewatch what I have seen. Sarah Jane Adventures, again, I've seen all of it, and I know I really enjoyed them. I have re-seen some a few times. I watched The Death of the Doctor not too long ago, when I had the Green Death, a few months ago when I got the Green Death Special Edition DVD. So, yeah, it wasn't as I remembered then, when I watched it then, but it's still a great episode. So yeah, from what I've seen and remember from both series, they were both really great, especially Sarah Jane, which I saw all of. So I think Class has the potential to be just as great, maybe even better, although unlikely. I mean, Children of Earth, come on, and Sarah Jane series 3 and 4. Yeah, like I said, Death to Doctor wasn't that great on rewatch, but it was still pretty good at the time. It's still quite good, even today. So yeah, Class, and we could see maybe we could see more 12th Doctor appear again, maybe in the final, maybe next season. We could see some more Doctor appearances, like in SJA with the 10th and 11th Doctors. Torchwood, they didn't do it, but they referenced him. And they did come together in The Stolen Earth and Journey's End in Series 4, so the Doctor and Class the Class crew might team up with the Doctor in his own series. We could see them meet him in Series 10 or Series 11. Yeah. In fact, if this series is a success, they probably will bring Class into maybe into Series 11 if Chris Chibnall allows it, or into an episode of Series 10. Maybe. At the moment, I think it's a great series, and as far as I'm aware, no one has said otherwise. In fact, I don't think many people have said about reactions about it at the time of recording, but I know my friend Matthew Moore said that he liked the episodes. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a good series. I think anyone who wasn't expecting it to be bad, well, that's okay. That's understandable. Sorry. I think because everyone wasn't expecting it to be good, it actually turned out good. Although that we shouldn't keep our hopes up for that. Look at what happened with Torchwood Series 4. Yeah, I didn't see Series 4, but I know lots of people didn't like it, and it was mainly because it's very like Series 3 in concept and structure for the most parts. So yeah, I think lots of people liked this, but I'm not sure yet. Next review I might say so, depends. So yeah, I'm going to give Class Episode 1 for Tonight We Might Die an 8 out of 10. What have I been waiting for? Been wasting all my time watching my youth. It is because, as well as the editing problems, it's also kind of a slow start. Well, not too slow, thank God, and it introduces our characters really well, but I don't think it's the greatest thing. Like I said, it has the potential, but I don't know. There's something there that's blocking it being higher. At least this episode. It is really good though, and yeah, it deserves any praise it's going to get or has gotten. So yeah, that's for Tonight We Might Die. Next time I will review The Coach with the Dragon Tattoo, the second episode of Class. I'll hopefully do that tomorrow. Okay, by the time this is edited and goes up, there might be more stuff about Class being received by people, so yeah, okay, I'll see you guys next time. But you can't expect these juveniles to protect the planet and the school from whatever comes out of that time crack or whatever it is. Well, actually I can. You see, they've displayed great levels of bravery and protection to each other. They look out for each other, and they're willing to sacrifice themselves to protect the planet. I think that's really great. Well, not to sacrifice themselves, obviously. I think trying to protect each other and trying to save the world is great. So yeah, I'm expecting them to protect the world, and I expect you to help them. But they're just children. At the end of the day, they're just children. Well, this is a high school. Who better? A bunch of kids and their teacher. Well, one of them. That makes sense. Aye. I'm the Doctor.